What's going on, everyone? So as promised in my worst of 2019 list, I said I was going to wait to do my top 10 movies of 2019 before first seeing 1917. So I've seen 1917, so now that I did that, alas, here we are. Now keep in mind, what I'm going to be doing, just like I did last year, instead of throwing the honorable mentions right at you guys right away, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing the honorable mentions right before I give my number one pick. So, as per usual, 10 is going to be obviously the one that I loved, but then number one is going to be the one that I absolutely loved. So, without further ado, let's get started. So, my number 10 is Toy Story 4. I know, right? This movie shouldn't have worked as well as it did, but by goodness, it did. And this was a really effective movie. I was one of the naysayers that was like, this probably isn't going to be good. It's, corporate cash grab. But lo and behold, it was a really well-crafted movie that I saw twice, and I probably will see a third time. But, Disney 4Ks are quite expensive, so maybe we'll get lucky and we'll see a sale sometime soon. But for now, I don't own it, but still a really well-crafted movie. That's why it's my number 10. Number 9 is Knives Out. Knives Out is a movie kind of like my number 10 pick, where I was conflicted going into it because Rian Johnson, I think, is a good director with Looper, some of the episodes of Breaking Bad, and then Brick. But I didn't like The Last Jedi, as most people don't, so I was skeptical. But lo and behold, he shows once again that he is a great director. And not only that, a great scriptwriter, too. You can check out my full review for it, but I really dug Knives Out. I think that after the 45-minute mark where they reveal the big twist, you then realize that there's multiple twists like in the final act, and I think that's really good at subverting expectations, but also telling a great story. That's why it's my number 9. My number 8 is actually the movie that I was waiting on before doing this list, and that is 1917. 1917 did in fact make my top 10. I thought it would make my top 3 going into it, but it didn't. And that's because I have a couple quips with it, but it's still a great movie. Like, it's still a really, really well-crafted movie. Made to look like it's in one take, but there are some movies that have done that, but this movie, I think, does it in a way that it's unique because it's the war genre. And the war genre, there's explosions going off. They have to hit their cues where it's like, running into people, avoiding people sometimes. It's just really good stuff. Sam Mendes did a really good job directing this movie. And, besides some slow patches in the middle, I think this is a really, really well-crafted movie, and that's why it's my number 8. So my number 7 is a movie that I absolutely love drinking water, but this is a movie that made me get even more skeptical and cautious with the water that I drink. And that's why my number 7, Dark Waters. Dark Waters is Todd Haynes' latest movie, the same guy that gave us Carol and Far From Heaven. This movie stars Mark Ruffalo, and you can check out my review down below, but it's just incredibly well done. I don't think I've seen a movie quite like this in a couple years, I should say. I don't want to make it sound like, oh, it's the most original movie. It's based on a true story, but it's like Spotlight meets The Insider, and those two movies are great, so it's perfect for me. But it's a movie that I think that it went under the radar of a lot of people. Like, I know it's not going to get any Oscar nominations, even though I think it should, because it's really, really well done, and it gets you thinking about the water in the area and corporate greed as well. That's why it's my number 7. My number 6 is The Art of Self-Defense. If you don't know why I did that, you probably haven't seen the movie, but if you've seen The Art of Self-Defense, you get what I'm going with. The Art of Self-Defense is a very quirky movie, but it's also a movie that has humor that's very dry. So if you don't like dry humor or quirky humor, you probably won't like this movie, but if you can appreciate both and also a movie with a lot of messages on its head, then I think you'll really appreciate this movie. It's a movie that, kind of like Dark Waters, just got under the radar. I don't really hear much talk about it, unfortunately, but it's a really, really well done movie. I would highly recommend it, and that's why it's my number 6. My number 5 is a movie that originally was my number 12, but I started thinking about it more, marinated even more, and it made my top 10 and went further up the list, actually. And I actually bought it recently, too. And my number 5 is, Where's Me Lobster? Give me my lobster! The Lighthouse. That's right, everyone. The Lighthouse made my list. This movie is the follow-up from the same director that gave us The Witch, which I also love. But the thing with The Lighthouse is that I don't love it as much as The Witch, at least as of right now, but it's still a really well-done movie, and I think the black and white cinematography is really great. The performances are top-notch, the dark humor, the claustrophobic environment, it's just great stuff. I can't wait to rewatch this for a third time, and get me lobster! I gotta get me lobster! Yeah, that movie's great. Now, there was an A24 movie that was a little bit better, at least as of right now, and my number 4 is Midsummer. Midsummer, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. I know some people say Midsommar. Whatever the case may be, it's a great movie. The thing is, I haven't seen the director's cut yet, and the only reason why I don't own it on Blu-ray yet is because I'm waiting. I'm hoping the studio's like, you know what, well, screw it, we'll release the director's cut as well, because I want to get an edition where there's the actual theatrical and director's cut, so I can watch both. The theatrical cut that I've seen, that's the only one I've seen, it's really good. It's really well paced, but at the same time, I do feel as though, because this story is so engrossing and organic in its approach, I do feel as though, you know, another half hour, it wouldn't hurt, right? I don't know. I'll find out later on sometime. But for now, Midsummer, it's a really well done movie. It's another art house horror movie that's on this list, and Florence Pugh nailed it. So that's my number 4. My number 3 is The Irishman. That's right, Martin Scorsese's latest movie. I was one of the few people that when the trailers dropped, I was like, this is going to be great. A lot of people were like, oh, the de-aging doesn't look convincing. But I was one of the few people that was like, the de-aging looks really good. And in my opinion, it's a breakthrough. I mean, especially since it's 3 hours and 30 minutes of, you know, using de-aging. It's pretty impressive. And not only that, but it looks really convincing. The only thing is that with Robert De Niro, he has green eyes in the movie. And if you've seen his movies, you know he doesn't. But that's the only thing. I feel like the next generation that watch The Irishman, they're not going to think about it because they didn't grow up watching Robert De Niro movies. My generation and the generation before me, we grew up watching Robert De Niro movies, so we know his eyes aren't green. So I think that's the only thing. But even then, I mean, if the real-life character had green eyes, so be it. But I think that's the only thing. But even then, it's still a great movie, and I'm looking forward to rewatching it. Number 2 is the comeback for Adam Sandler, at least I hope. And that's Uncut Gems. Oh man, I absolutely love this. Latest Safdie Brothers movies, yet another A24 movie. I know, right? But I can't help it. A24's been on a roll. And Uncut Gems is just such a hard to watch movie because you're dealing with a character that is so frustrating to watch. He does stupid things, but you're like, come on, Howard, do it. Come on, don't do that. No, Howard. And it's just so frustrating, but at the same time, you just can't help but be engrossed with his character. Julia Fox is also incredible in this movie. I look forward to seeing her in more roles. She was great, and it's really cool that, not going to spoil anything, but with what they did with her character by the end, really good stuff. And that ending really struck a chord with me. This is a great movie. Check it out. Now, before I get my number 1, let's go with some honorable mentions. So, honorable mentions are Marriage Story, I Lost My Body, The Nightingale, Loose, Pain and Glory, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Rocket Man, Avengers, Endgame, Missing Link, and The Farewell. Those are my 10 honorable mentions. Now, for my number 1, which ironically my number 1 was in terms of 2019 movie reviews, my number 1 pick is actually the one that got me the most views, and that is Parasite. That's right, everyone. Parasite is my number 1 film of 2019. I absolutely adored that movie. I was curious if it was going to, you know, get knocked out of the number 1 spot, but alas, it didn't. The thing is with Parasite is that, and I don't mean to start any controversy here, but Joker's a good movie, but I think Parasite deals with the same themes as Joker, but does so in a more organic and impactful way. Like, it does so in a better way. Don't get me wrong, Joker's a fine movie, but at the same time, when it's up against Parasite, Parasite is the real deal. Parasite is also a movie that you can watch with the mainstream moviegoer. If they can get past the subtitles, they will be in for a treat, because this movie has everything. It's thriller, comedy, drama. It even has some horror, like heist-esque, you know, moments. Thriller. It's just a lot of genres in one movie, and it works so well. The balance of tones is some of the best balance of tones I've seen in a film in quite some time. It's a great, great movie. It's a masterpiece. I would highly recommend it, and that's why it's my number 1. So guys, I went through those kind of fast because I'm not going to lie, this is the 3rd time I filmed my review. The other 2 times I botched it up, but I want you guys to give me your top 10 movies of 2019 in the comment section down below. And if you want my full in-depth responses and, you know, discussion about these movies I discussed, you'll find them in the, you know, the review section of my channel. And also keep in mind that even those, they're non-spoilers, so if you want spoiler thoughts, you'll probably have to put those in the comment section below, because otherwise I don't spoil movies in my reviews. So, but guys, enough of that exposition. Again, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below of your top 10 of 2019. And as always, guys, thank you very much. I really do appreciate your support. Don't forget the subscription, notification bell, and I'll catch you guys later.